Good day. Good day to you. Welcome to Learning with Sonwa. This is episode 5 of our continued invitations for dialogue, invitations for engagement, invitations for just like to translate different words into isiXhosa as well as in German. So today's word that we're looking at is secret. To keep secrets or to have a secret. So in isiXhosa, the word for that is imfihlo. 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 Imfihlo, like something that's hidden, something that's not talked about. Imfihlo. So when you think about it in isiXhosa, it's like something that's behind walls, behind things, like it's imfihlo. What is secret or secrets in German? Please help me by translating below. And so, and really engage around this concept of imfihlo. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about imfihlo? When you think about secrets, what comes to mind? What have you observed around secrets? You know, when you think about secrets in English, when you think about secrets in isiXhosa, imfihlo, what secret has been kept from you, or what secret have you kept? Now, I'm not saying speak about those secrets now, but we're unpacking the actual concept because some of these things can be very, very sensitive. Some of them you might not want or might not be ready to come out about them. So we're talking about the concept, we're unpacking the concept of imfihlo, secrets. What is it secret? What is it in German? Please let us know what it is in German, and if that word in German also means something else. What else does it bring up in your mind when you say secrets or secret in German? I mean, for me, when I think about secret or secrets, I mean, there are many things like one of the things that come up, you know, we've had instances where people grow up until the age of 18, 20, even after school, only to find out that the mother and father that they thought were their mother and father were actually not theirs. There are stories like that, people who have experienced that, you know. And remember one of our episodes when we talked about judging. Now we don't know, all these stories will be different because we don't know why the parents decided to decide to keep secrets, certain secrets, or one of them being the paternal or maternal, you know, belonging. I'm looking for a better word, but belonging is not the paternal or maternal belonging is not the right word, because this person already belongs in this space, and they felt that belonging. So there are instances like that, big secrets that are kept in families, but also some secrets are not always negative. For instance, there might be a granny who saved 1 rand like every day, like saved 10 rand, moved it up, and then for one day to give it to the grandson when they finish the trick, and here's your money, the bag of money that granny has saved. Now that was a secret. That would have been a secret that's now is positive, because granny was giving up on her favorite things, but just to make this sacrifice for this young person, for my grandson or my granddaughter, to have something when they leave home to go to tertiary, these kind of things. So there are secrets like that as well. You know, collective secrets and these loud traumas that are so loud, and they are you know, that are supposed to be quiet, but they are in our faces. What am I talking about? You know, different injustices. I mean, maybe even injustices of the past, maybe structural violences of today. Structural violence is not a word concept that I'm coming up with. It's not. It is Galtung, who a number. Yeah, I think one of the first people to talk about structural violence is a very well-known researcher. She's man who talked about structural violence. I could. Okay, we'll fact check this, but structural violence, this this violence that says, I'll give an example with tertiary. Who accesses tertiary? How are they prepared to access tertiary? So are all high schools the same, exactly the same? Are they all giving people an equal chance to access tertiary? So that could be a form of structural violence, that this structure that exists does not give access equally to everyone. And some of the people who do access it successfully, are not necessarily better in any way than the ones who don't in some instances. But structurally, there are things that block other people from accessing. There could be structural violence. Another example, if we're moving away from the tertiary school example, in health, structural violence. Who is eating what food? Who's accessing what health, for instance? Who's directly on the path of certain lifestyle diseases? That could be a form of structural violence. There are many things, but you'll help me, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's structural violence. Now, structural violence is a thing that's right in front of our eyes, but in some ways it's kept as a secret, as if it doesn't happen. It's like, oh no, it doesn't happen. No, but it's right there. It's right there. It's right there. You can see who doesn't have access to potable water. You can see for various reasons. We can see who doesn't have, access to good quality health. We can see who doesn't have access to good quality education and all these different things. We can see who doesn't have access to good quality housing. All these different structures. We can see who, geez, man, do I want to go there? We can see who gets followed around when they walked into a certain store. That's a structural violence. That's something that's there, but no, we're perhaps not doing it. It's a secret that's in the open. Have you walked into a store and felt that you're actually being followed, as if you're going to steal something? That could be seen as a form of structural violence. If I'm joking, I don't want to make this sound like how can I say only political, but it's a reality. If I'm jogging, for instance, and see how people lock their doors, there could be a structural violence at play there. It's a secret that, yes, we are living together in harmony, but I'm scared of you. It's a secret that's obviously there. When you jog past the house and then people drive out and they cycle back to just check that you didn't go in. That's a form of structural violence. Language can be a form of structural violence because language tends to block out some people. Listening to this episode, my grandfather would be locked out. My late grandfather would be locked out because yes, he does speak English, but perhaps some of the words he would not be able to understand. Hence, then I'm there to try and translate these words for him. So that's why I'm interested in languages, structural violence. We're talking about secret, some things that that are obviously there, but are not talked about every day. Could that be a secret? Could that be called a secret? Those things that I spoke about my grandfather just now, those intergenerational things that could cause mental health that are not talked about, that we carry with us, those intergenerational things that come further down generations that were not dealt with, in the past, that we now come to earth and then we're carrying all of those things, those secrets. So secrets can be good, secrets can be bad, secrets can benefit people, secrets can hurt people. What are your thoughts so far? Imfihlo, secrets. Now, I think it's Pierre Bourdieu. Who talks about this social capital. Some secrets are kept because we don't want to be gossiped about. Right? So gossip plays a very crucial role in some communities to keep people in a certain way, right? Did I just say right there, right? So it plays a role, gossip. So because I don't want to be gossiped about, I am going to keep this secret. I'm not going to tell anyone, because if it gets out, people are going to talk about me in a certain way. Now, that can be a positive or a negative thing, because that secret could mean that you need help. That secret that one is keeping could mean that they really need help. So that's the part where I think it could be negative to keep. Gossip plays a negative role then. But also, if someone has thoughts or maybe negative thoughts about something or about someone, they rather keep them to themselves, because they don't want to be gossiped about or talked about, to be put in the open, to say you have these thoughts about a certain person or people. So rather, so it helps in a way to keep things intact. You help me unpack Pierre Bourdieu's social capital. Please, will you help me do that? Unpack it further around secrets and gossip. Secrets, imfihlo. What is that in German? Secrets. I spoke about intergenerational things, and how secrets can sort of like rewire and change the whole identity. I spoke about, maternal lineage and paternal lineage. If there's something that's not quite honest there, how that can rewire a whole identity, a person's able to move in a different trajectory, a different direction. So there, secrets again are playing a role. When your story becomes edited far back, or becomes edited right now, in a way that sort of changes, you. Please give me examples of this. What are your thoughts? People's individual stories being edited in a way that sort of changes their course and their path. Can you give me examples of that? These things. But I want to move on also to the time that we live in terms of this digital. They say that once you make a video, if it's on your phone, you don't own it. If you put it online, it's no longer yours. If you put it on social media, it's out there. It's out there. And some movements, if you make examples of political movements in the past, did not communicate in the normal ways of communicating. Things were moved underground. Notes, letters, and different things were moved underground. Because there needed to be that secrecy to keep the movements going. Would you say that today there's a digital secrecy? There's something there are things that are said in WhatsApp groups that won't be said on Facebook. There are things that are said in family meetings that won't be said in public. There are things that don't we all have that in one way or another? The things that we'll say in private that we don't say in public. So if we think about secrecy, then does it become a sort of power that people have? Does it? Would you agree with that? That when you have this way of getting information only to a certain person, only to a certain space, becomes a form of power. Would you agree? Power, amandla, power. We're saying this is because our power is amandla to have power. Secrecy around religious secrecy, when beliefs, even cultural, when beliefs become a cover for something, for something that's not quite, I want to be very careful in saying this. And this is not in any way an attack on religion. I strongly believe that people should have something that they are holding on to. I'm more for spirituality, which also encompasses an aspect of spirituality would be religion. So spiritual things that cover bad things that happen behind, so that spiritual or religious or cultural secrecy that covers harmful things. Can you come up with thought? Think about examples of that. Some things that are so believed today that they've erased certain histories and certain parts. They're so believed today religiously or or spiritually or culturally, that there are certain things that were left behind, that we're going with this way. We're going this way. Now, remember one of our earlier episodes where we spoke about judging. I'm not in any way judging religion. I'm not in any way judging spirituality, but I'm raising a question, and I'm not in any way judging cultural things. I'm raising a question around erasure, like, of certain things. I'm raising certain things around checks and balances within these institutions. I'm asking questions about those things. That secrecy. Let me know what you think. That's secrecy. I'm gonna move on to mining companies, hiding environmental harm for profits. There are quite a number of stories about that, for instance. So who pays in the end for keeping quiet? I mean, there are some communities who protested and sort of solidified and formed groups to prevent certain companies from accessing their spaces. Mining, but I want to broaden it, this secrecy around mining, and not only talk about mining, but secrecy around mining, data mining. Like, if you, for research purposes, people go out and get data, collect data from people. Sometimes, if you don't say what you're collecting the information for, that's secrecy. You are asking people blindly. That's why in different institutions, there are ethical bodies that sort of look at what you do and say, okay, what are you going to ask the people? What are you going to do to the people? Are you going to ask them to take anything orally? Are you going to draw bloods? Are you going to all of these things get looked at, and then the ethics committee decides then if they give approval for that. Because there were things that happened in the past in the name of research and getting data, that ended up hurting people. We'll fact check this and pull up information around the Tuskegee times, and there's another one that I forget. There's another one that I forget around research. In the name of research, the people ended up getting hurt. So that secrecy of not being fully open about what you do, about what you're doing, can be harmful, can harm people. So that's another element of keeping secrets, in the name of saying that we're trying to get more information, more data, so that we can move society forward, yet we're not being fully transparent to society that we're trying to move forward. So there are various types of secret things that can be done. Please add more positive, or what needs to be looked at further, like in terms of like that's not quite positive. Please add more and tell us what you think about secrecy. Social norms. If we move on to social norms, and one example I'll make of is the LGBTQI plus community. Because of heteronormativity, this is a big word, heteronormal, heterosexuality, and heteronormativity, that a certain way, a certain idea of sexuality is the one that's acceptable in society, that it pushes other people into certain corners and under this veil of secrecy. That's another way. There's these things that are deemed normal and not normal. How can we engage more and create a space for everyone to be who they are and live their truth and live their lives truthfully around us? How can we do that? How can we do that better as a community? Yep. So I think the truth must be chosen in the place of secrecy. It must be spoken. It must be reclaimed. The truth. The truth as we feel it, as we see it. How do we create a safe space for us to tell the truth, to reclaim that truth? How do we help each other become the people who speak when silence is expected? How do we help each other become those people? How do we create those safe environments where we can do this freely and openly, and we will protect ourselves? So that's the thought or the thinking for today: secrecy, imfihlo in isiXhosa. What is it in German? Please let us know. Please let us know, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And also let us know in the comments below what you think about what you heard here today and what your thoughts around secrecy. Like, what are your thoughts around this idea, this concept of secret, imfihlo? What are your thoughts? This has been Learning with Sono. Goodbye.